안녕하세요, 카메입니다. 자, 탱글 타워 지난번에 이어서 해보도록 하겠습니다. 지난번에 집을 계속 조사했었죠. 그래서 지금 여기 가서 무슨 단서를 얻고 왔었고, 나머지들도 하나하나 돌아다녀 봐야 할 것 같은 상황이었던 것 같아요. 왼쪽 위부터 하나씩 돌아보죠. 작업장.
Sir?
Sir?
Can you hear me? I'm Private Detective Grimoire. I have some questions for you.
Grimoire. Good mysterious name. I'd rather like it. Felix Fellow at your beck and call.
Fellow.
And, this is my colleague, Sally.
Yeah, that's a perfectly good name as well.
Thanks.
If you would, Mr. Fellow, we really need to ask you about the murder.
I must say I'm rather jealous of you two.
Oh yeah? Why's
Why?
that?
Out here solving mysteries, exploring new places, uncovering secret rooms, hidden treasures. That's what life is all about.
Secret rooms?
Generally speaking, you know, that sort of thing.
호호. 비밀방이 있군.
So, Felix, what exactly do you, do?
Is it not obvious? I'm an explorer.
It's not obvious.
/ treasure hunter. Yes, well, best in the world.
We're talking
Who
like
decided?
curse statues, spike pits.
It's a little more sophisticated than that. But I've certainly seen my share of danger, if that's what you're asking.
And, if I may ask, when did you retire?
You listen here. I may be between ventures right now, but it's simply not in my nature to stay in one place for too long.
선생님, 저 그거 정말 이런 말씀드리면 죄송한데 그 우리 대한민국 프로 선수들이 그 은퇴는 아니지만 팀이 안 불러줘서 FA 됐을 때 자주 하시던 말씀들. 예, 지금은 쉬고 있는 거다. 난 아직 현역으로 뛸 수 있다. 하시다가 은퇴 많이 하시던.
I go wherever the winds of destiny take me.
Don't you live here with your wife and daughter?
Yes, well, the fellow family has certain loyalties, and with Flora the way she is,
Nothing wrong with raising a family, Mr. Fellow.
don't misunderstand me. Fiona and Flora are my entire world. They are the greatest treasure of all.
Uh-huh.
잠깐만. 아, 프레야구나. 그렇지. 참. 자기 딸이 죽었는데 저런 태도면은.
Why on earth would you want to know about that?
The murder of Freya Fellow. The reason we're here?
Ah, right. Nasty business. Very unfortunate. I regret that I can't be of any help, but I wish you all the best in your investigation.
Hear that, Grimoire? We're done here. Let's go.
It's a simple question, Felix. I'm sure you're up to it.
Well, there's not much to tell. Mostly, I was in my room by myself, working on Flora's, working on a project.
Your room is quite close to Flora's tower. You didn't hear anything unusual?
What qualifies as unusual?
What have you got?
That looks like it might belong to Poppy. Flora's quite fond of that old thing. It's in poor shape, though.
Do you know what happened to it?
Can't say I do. What's this?
It's my case file. It's how I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
You mean to say you're bound by the limits of what's written in this little document? Sounds dreadful.
I found it comforting.
Uncommonly skilled as an artist, but Freya was so much more than her talent. She helped me get started with my own painting, you know. It taught me what she knew about wood carving, too.
와, 목동이 될 줄
Tremendous
알았어.
patience. She was ever so good with dear Flora.
Freya and Flora were close?
Oh, yes, especially recently.
How are you related to Freya?
Somewhat distantly, as it happens. My father, Lord Fellow, was her grandfather. Technically, that makes her a fellow. Let's just say there was some discussion over whether she ought to carry the name at all. There's a family tree in the Grand Hall. You should take a look at it.
What about her inheritance?
Freya's parents died when she was around 3 years old. She came to live here shortly afterwards.
Nobody left her a thing?
I'm afraid not. She had no formal claim over anything at Tangle Tower.
근데 그러면은 얘는 재산을 노리고 죽인 것도 아니라는 거잖아. 뭐야?
It was dusk. A feeling lingered in the air. Malevolent, perhaps. Uncertain, as life itself.
Abridged version, please.
Right, fine. I heard someone heading down the stairs, just outside my room. The footsteps were calm, orderly, so I thought nothing of it. Shortly afterward, I heard a second set of footsteps, going the same way. This time I could tell just from the sound that something was wrong. So I looked out into the hallway. I got a glimpse of Poppy disappearing down the staircase to the floor below. Didn't know what to make of it, to be honest. I thought perhaps she'd had a disagreement with Fitz, as I know those two are close. So I looked into his room, just in case, but it was empty, as was the garden beyond his window. Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer, so I escorted her. We went into Flora's room. Poor Freya was laying on the floor. Fiona, Poppy, Fitz, and Pointer were there already. Flora too, of course.
퍼피가
Soon
있었다고?
enough, everyone else made their excuses and left.
Including you?
Not I. I stayed. Flora needed me.
근데 잘 만들었다, 되게.
Puffer?
Yes, it's also a lamp. For some reason.
That's Do you think this little crab living inside?
I hope so. It's a magic lamp. Can we summon the genie?
If we get really stuck, sure.
It's a drinking.
Is it full of ale?
Right now, it's just full of ale. Nice.
How do you know?
My else. Plus, there's a treasure map hanging. What's the deal with that painting?
Not sure. We should check that treasure map too.
어허. 4, 3, 3, 2. 어허. Northwest, East, West. Dragon X. X is here. Left is dragon. 그럼 멀리에 X 왼쪽에 용, 오른쪽에 섬. 얘인데? 얘 말고 이게 충족하는 애가 있는지 좀 볼게요. 북쪽을 향해서 4I N I.
Nothing.
Did you check the treasure? And what about that painting on the chest?
이게 아니라고? 아, 이거다 그러면. 6H West.
I did it.
Not bad. What was in the box?
More what? These are a little different to the one on the desk.
초록색 머리를 한 아이, 회색의 머리를 한 여자, 빨갛고 하얀 새, 큰 어깨를 가진 남자. 전문가의 손길은 아니다. 빨간색, 빨간 새? 한번 더 봐봐. 빨간색, 초록 머리 한 아이, 회색 머리 한 여자, 빨갛고 하얀색 큰 어깨 가진 남자, 하얀 머리, 초록 머리. 얘가 만약 어깨라고 치면 그럼 남은 한 명은 앞만 봐도 얘는 플레이하고 얘는 플로라 같은데 빨갛고 하얀색 큰 어깨. 이 둘은 조금 더 봐야겠네요. 확정 지을 순 없겠는데.
A little hand-painted
How
stuff.
can you tell it's
Well, the paint. Also, I mean, no offense, but you can just tell.
이거 본인이다. 그쵸? 이게 본인이면 그럼 아까 그거에서 본인은
More
아니란다.
maps?
No, they're just.
Oh. It's a
I've
barometer.
never seen a barometer that wasn't.
A pencil drawer.
Mood.
와 근데 진짜 열심히
The
했다.
entire room
Oh,
is.
it's not just. I think it's the actual.
이거를 다 클릭할 수 있게 해놨네. 프레야의 방, 이건 피해자의 방이네요. 죽은 피해자의 방.
A pillow.
It's
with
a cushion.
Yeah, but that doesn't alliterate. It's a little
I
glass.
think it's a
Come
vivarium.
again?
See, the leaves might have been for keeping insects.
곤충 혹시 황금벌레가 이건가?
Do you think this was
I don't know.
no windows either? It's Freya's bed. A little bit
It's a
messy.
perfectly healthy amount of messy. That painting.
Why would you want it looming over your bed?
Maybe Freya enjoyed the
The
atmosphere.
atmosphere.
Hang on. There's a smaller version down by the floor.
It's a photograph.
이게 뭐지? 수상화라고? 줄이 그어져 있다. 무슨 뜻일까 이게? 이게 뭘까요? 아직까지는 잘 모르겠네.
Freya's bear.
Looks pretty.
He's had a rough couple of days.
It's a.
I think it looks
fine.
fine. Could also be a shark.
Do you think this
I don't
was
know.
no windows either? Even though where someone's been tracking in mud from outside.
진흙이 있었다. 서재.
Books about space.
They're relatively untouched.
어? 난 벌레를
Books about
좋아하는데.
insects.
Well, there's not a single book on it.
Huh. Is that?
Of sorts.
야 근데 주인 허락 없이 이렇게 막 봐도 돼?
Hey, look, it's a model of Tangle Tower. What are you thinking?
That would make an amazing.
Hey, look, it's a model. What are you thinking?
That would make an.
말을 걸어봅시다 일단.
Curious. I would expect bacteria of that nature to thrive in these conditions.
Excuse me.
Taking all the
연구하는
environmental
거네.
factors into account, there must be something I am still missing.
May I talk to you, Miss?
She knows we're here. She just doesn't care.
I am a detective, and I need to talk.
Correction. You do not need to
방
talk to
하나에
me.
한 개의 퍼즐이
Oh,
있다.
no?
그럼 아까 그 방에서
How come?
퍼즐을 내가 못
Because
찾았다는
I
거네.
am not a suspect. I am completely innocent of any and all crimes.
Thanks for
Every
letting me know.
Speaking of
Suspect
which,
saying
you have
that.
now been at Tangle Tower for over 23 minutes. Surely you have already reached a sturdy hypothesis.
No.
A hypothesis about the murder?
You
Yeah,
watching
come
too
on,
much
Grimoire,
comics,
hurry
man.
up.
My apologies. Unfortunately, protocol dictates I must at least meet all the suspects. And that includes you. So,
What's your name?
could you tell me your name?
Fifi Fellow, microbiologist, inventor, innovator.
Take out the innovator, man.
You will need to be more specific. Oneself cannot be summarized in a single response without doing one a great disservice.
So true.
Well, first of all, you're a fellow. So does that make you the daughter of...
Correct. My father and mother are named Flora and Felix,
Oh.
but you need not question either of them. It will only waste valuable time. Neither of them are capable of murder.
Thanks for the tip.
Fifi, you said you were a micro something or other?
Microbiologist, but it is an insignificant label. My studies
Huh?
cannot be categorized in any one
Ah,
recognized
yeah,
field.
yeah.
What made you want to become a scientist in the first place?
Huh?
I harbor an intrinsic fascination with the microscopic. I constructed my first one at age 10.
아이고.
Constructed a microscope?
Huh?
Correct.
And what's that thing on your head?
아, 부품 다
Did you
주문해서
make
만든
that
거죠?
too?
본인이 직접
My
만들었으면
eyesight
못했을
began to
텐데.
deteriorate when I turned 12. Not satisfied with the eyeglasses prescribed to me, I designed this
아,
custom
잠깐
lens
렌즈를 직접
instead.
만들 수 있을
It
정도라고?
automatically adjusts based on the surrounding light conditions.
아?
Does it glow red when you get angry?
No, but that would be most amusing.
잠깐.
What can you tell me about the murder?
능력이 제법인데
What
그럼?
can you tell me about... Wait, that's what I'm supposed to ask you.
Yes, however, you were too slow.
You fancy yourself a detective too, Fifi?
I just need to know what happened.
Me too. So talk.
Fine. I knew ahead of time that Freya was going to be busy with her painting all day, so I had planned to spend the afternoon with Poppy.
어.
I was in the library all morning preparing the equipment for an experiment, only to find out that Poppy had made other plans and she was in fact planning to ignore me completely.
오.
So what did you do instead?
그러니까 10살
I locked myself in my room and cried.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Why?
I don't know, it just sounds kind of sad.
It is not unusual.
Oh. Good.
어?
I was
얘는
in my
바로
room.
진실로.
The lights were off and the door was locked.
음.
Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me.
오.
I opened the door. Poppy came into my room. Her makeup was leaking. She told me Freya
Huh?
was dead. I did
아.
not believe it.
사건 터지고
I thought she was playing a trick
커피가
on
온
me,
거구나.
so I punched her in the face.
어?
She insisted that we go up to Flora's tower. We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He
오.
followed us
아, 그래서 얘네
upstairs.
셋이 먼저
When I saw
올라왔구나.
Freya lying on the floor,
그
I
사이에
was
저
completely and
아버지가
utterly
저희가 까먹고.
devastated. Then I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting. Poppy and I took the sample back downstairs to the library. We performed a test and found out that it was, in fact, blood.
어.
You performed that scientific test immediately, even though you were
대단한데?
feeling so upset?
Of course. Why would one affect the other?
너도 범상치는 않구나.
I believe Freya was attempting to communicate something through this painting.
오호.
Any idea what it was?
I am not the person to ask. All I see is a blood-red mountain with angry storm clouds brewing above it. As such, I cannot ascertain any meaning from it
그치.
whatsoever.
이과한테 예술 설명을 하기 좀 어렵긴 하지.
The gramophone belongs to Poppy, but I believe she gave it to my mother, and my mother often loaned it to Freya. Or maybe it is the other way around.
When did it get cracked?
I cannot pinpoint it exactly. All I know is that it must have happened sometime in the last 2 days.
오호.
Fifi's bedroom should be unlocked now.
Can't wait. It's an illustrated
And it's
book,
been left open?
or it was left
Ever
open.
so slightly unnerving?
얼룩새. 열매만 먹는다. 책을 넘길 순 없군요.
A chalkboard?
Is this a library or a class?
Any idea what this
Not
means?
a clue.
191. 숫자랑 알파벳은 순서가 같고 193, 356, 35, 135, 629, 0169.
I'm not sure I learned anything from that.
I'm not sure. Soil samples?
아직은 좀 더 봐야 될 것 같네.
Books about
These books, I think they'd
good
crumb
excuse.
things.
A book fundamental.
I guess somebody dropped it.
Why
The
not?
search for the archive's downright poetic.
자, 일단 열렸다는 것부터 가죠. 이 게임 왠지 단서 부족하면 단서 더 찾아오라고 할 것 같아. 여기가 PP의 방이고.
I don't know what that
I'd
meant,
read
but
it.
that's even worse.
What's that?
Looks like
Is it a
something.
clue?
We hope it's just a bunch of notes about her micro.
Scientific probably. I'll openly admit I have. It's a
How
matter.
come
Why? Should I
you
start?
couldn't pull off that?
What's that?
Looks like something. We hope it's just a bunch of notes about her micro.
Fifi's
What
got.
is all this?
얘랑 뭔가 있고
Who's that?
Not sure.
Looks like Professor Pointer.
포인터랑 누가 연결돼 있고
That's you, Sally.
What? I do not.
Is that supposed to be me?
That's just the fake. Does make you wonder, though.
둘이 엮여져 있고
I think that's supposed to be feeling. That's gotta be Flora.
플로라고
Who's that?
Not sure.
얘랑 얘는 아직 만난 적 없고
Who is that?
No idea.
여기는 사람들을 더 만나고 와서 봐야겠네요.
Is
Maybe. Did you ever try that?
여긴 사람들을 더 만나고 와서 봐야 될 것 같아. 얘랑 연계가 있고 얘랑 연관이 있고 사람의 연관도로 말해준 것 같아. 얘네들은 부부고
did you notice who is?
Freya?
Mm-hmm. And
특히 본인이 없다.
a news. Don't think you can save it for the judge.
Box of stuff.
It looks like
Can I touch it? I'm not.
사이즈 맞추라는 거 아니야? 이거 모양 만들라는 것 같은데.
I got it.
I'm impressed. Sounds like it unlocked.
Yeah, there's a book in here.
금속 장치를 한게 있다. 어떻게 해볼 수는 없는 것 같고 당장. 이 피한테 다시 가면은 뭐 있지 않을까? 이거 일기장 주면?
A book.
네 거잖아.
My book.
And what's in it?
되게 쉽게 푼다고요? 그냥 사이즈가 맞으면 되는 거니까. 이 이상은 안 알려주겠다.
Is she laughing?
아직 때가 아닌가. 그러면 하나하나 다 파헤치고 다닐 수밖에 없겠구만.
Wow.
아까
Nice cape.
인물도
You're
있던
not
사람
fellows
중이다.
or pointers. I'm sure I shall immediately regret asking. But who are you, and what is your business here?
I'm Sally, and this is my sidekick Grimoire.
A private detective, Grimoire.
Really? You're a detective. If this is a joke, it's not a good one.
Who are you anyway?
Private Detective Hawkshaw.
어허,
Oh, nice. Hawkshaw's a cooler name than Grimoire.
얘도
Maybe I'll become
디텍티브라.
her sidekick.
You're not on the Freya fellow case, too, are you?
That is classified information between myself and my client. Clearly, this is something which eludes you. But a real detective refrains from handing out information to
맞는
persons
말이긴 하다.
unknown.
Oh, right.
Now, if you would, I have work to do.
Whoa. Nice cape.
You're not fellows or pointers.
이게
It's
아닌데.
not in my interest to discuss personal details.
Even if you're one of the suspects in a murder?
Very well. Let us make a small exception. Ask.
Oh, what are you doing here?
I'm on a case at the behest of my client.
How long have you been at Tangle Tower?
133 hours. 5.5 days.
Who are you working for?
I am not at liberty to answer that.
No, it's
Now,
6.5.
I shall permit you one more question.
Did you say
What
133?
crime are you-
How'd you get that scar? It's cool.
You really think so?
아, 넘어왔다.
As it happens, I completed an examination of Flora's room on the morning before the murder.
오,
I've been
좋군.
investigating every single room at Tangle Tower. Hers was one of the last on my list.
Did you find anything unusual?
Nothing but a thin layer of dust and an atmosphere of somber melancholy.
Was Flora in there at the time?
She spent the
오일
duration of my
반나절이
search
맞나?
staring up at the sky.
113시간이었어요?
Didn't say a word.
나
Although I'm
133시간으로
told this
잘못
is the
들었어.
expected behavior.
What did you do after that?
I spent
113이면
the early
5이라고
evening
간절히
searching the
맞겠네.
library. It took longer than it should have. Fiona leaves that room in a permanent state of
133이면은
disarray.
24.
Fiona
아,
was in
24.
the
와,
library
맞네.
too.
5이라고
I
만나자리네.
expected her to make an
나 왜
appearance.
20시간으로
but she did not.
계산했냐? 아유,
And you stayed in the library the rest
제가
of
계산
the day?
잘못했습니다.
Not quite. Towards the early evening, my examination of the library was unexpectedly disrupted. Sounds of running, wailing, shouting
Okay.
from several floors above. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared. He emerged from the Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the fellow staircase. Our eyes met. He was breathless. Something had caused him great alarm.
그럼
He
알았다는
told
건데
me
프레야가
to stay out
죽은 거.
of the way. I consented. I decided to return to my office in the stone square. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. She was clutching the banister of the Pointer staircase with an apprehensive manner. She wished to know where Professor Pointer had gone. I told her what had transpired. Then, she too crossed the hall and disappeared up the fellow staircase. More so than at any moment prior, I felt like quite an intruder in the house. I took my leave, out towards the stone square. The grounds were silent. There were no signs of human life. Even the greenhouse was without its typical inhabitant. I noted that he, too, must be entangled in whatever was transpiring in Fellow Tower. An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance. He spoke to
가느라
me of
연기
what had
있던데.
occurred. His report was as clumsy and cumbersome as the man giving it.
Did he seem upset?
He was rattled, that much was clear, but sorrowful, mournful, I cannot say.
오호.
Is that a...
If it is, it's a...
I'm guessing it doesn't tell.
So what does it do?
색으로 하는 건 아닌 것 같고. 잠시만요. 이거 6이고 12고 이거 9잖아. 이거 3이고. 그러면 9가 여기일 거고 3은 이거고. 됐고 이게 6이고 12, 12. 아 이거 좀 더 가야 된다. 잠깐만. 얘가 여기일 때 얘가 여기여야 되니까. 아이고. 여긴가? 됐다. 이거고. 잠깐만, 이거 내가 실수했다. 뭔가 아쉬운데? 아 이거 수치적으로 계산하기 싫은데? 이거 얼마 안에 안 풀어지면은 저 그냥 계산하겠습니다.
That's the one.
역시 이런 건 감으로 풀어야 돼요. 계산하면 할 수 있거든요. 그러니까 계산을 어떻게 하면 되냐면 하나 아니 꼼수를 쓴다는 게 아니라 계산을 한다고. 여기 이거 움직였을 때 이거 얼마 움직이고, 이거 움직였을 때 이거 얼마 움직이고, 이거 움직였을 때 이거 얼마 움직이고, 그걸 다 계산을 하면은 차를 구하면 몇 번, 어느 걸 기준으로 몇 번 돌리면 되니까 나오긴 나와요. 근데 그게 귀찮은 거야. 그러니까 감으로 맞추는 거야. 여기 고정시켜 놓고 저기 돌려보고 맞추는
Hey,
거야.
not bad.
그게 빠르긴 해.
What's in the
A
box?
little, but I'm not actually sure what it is.
그때 한번 그랬지. 퍼즐 게임이라기보다 그거였죠. 그 땅 사가지고 섬 사가지고 하는 게임이었는데, 그랬던 적이 있지. 그러면은 역제 아니에요. 그 포레이저라는 게임이었어요. 포레이저. 서순대로 누르는 거라서 4, 3, 2, 1이니까 24가지 경우의 수가 있었는데 24가지 중에 하나 빼먹고 23가지 해놓고 안 돼가지고 한 2번 반복하면서 왜 안 돼? 이거 답 없어? 막 이랬는데 나중에 다시 하니까 됐어요. 얘가 그 정원사네요.
Sally, don't move.
Yeah, I see him. He's a little too big to hide in the bushes. Is anyone going to say anything?
Nothing.
Or shall we just stand around staring at each other?
Oh, that's not
Right,
a bad idea.
Sorry.
That's better. I'm Sally. And the guy hiding behind me is Detective Grimoire. Who are you?
Fitzfellow, the gardener.
얘가 비츠군요.
Mm-hmm. And why are you so tall?
Do you think we can
I don't
answer
know.
for that?
You
대답할
work
수
here
있을까 생각하는 거죠.
as the gardener.
I don't get paid to do it.
아,
It's
진짜?
just my area of interest.
What's the deal with the plants? They're all kinda weird.
Right. Did you see the lake?
That giant green and purple lake surrounding the entire house.
오호,
Yeah,
성분이
I
특이한가?
caught
The color is just a byproduct.
오,
Of what? Poison?
It's not poisonous, not to you.
What's this got to do with the plants?
The water controls all life, just like anywhere else on the planet.
오호.
Clouds form, rain falls. The water grows the plants.
아 근데
animals
이분들
eat
목소리
the plants.
좋다잉.
Anything you
이성우분들.
perceived as an irregularity is simply a result of this hydrological cycle.
Could you say that again, but like condense it as if you were talking to a slightly stupid person?
Our lake water causes the unpredictable alteration of DNA. Sometimes.
Alteration? Like mutation.
That'd be the official term. For us, it's normal. Just nature.
And you're the local expert on all this stuff?
No. I'm just the gardener. I was in my greenhouse, watering and weeding.
Sounds exciting.
Was anyone else around?
Not at first. Penelope came in a little later.
오호.
She likes looking at the flowers, I think.
Did you speak to each other?
A little, not too much. We both left the greenhouse in the early afternoon. I went up to my room. Then I came back outside to weed the main gardens. Didn't see anyone else. After that, I went up to the garden outside my room.
And
Let me guess. Watering and weeding.
Right.
did anything happen to you yesterday, Fitz?
이상하지 않아요? 얘가 전해줬다 그랬는데 프레야가 죽은 거에 대한 소식을.
I was up in the rooftop garden. It was quiet. And then it wasn't. I can't
Oh.
describe it. Could have been a scream, but it didn't sound human. We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
We.
Poppy was with me. Did I not mention that? Flora's room was locked. That's normal. She usually locks it from the inside. I knocked on the door and shouted. Nobody responded. We became concerned.
You kicked the door down?
I did. Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back. Flora was there too, but I barely noticed her at first. Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too. Penelope arrived shortly after that, with Felix in tow. I thought that was odd. You don't normally see the two of them together. Felix took charge. There was nothing else I could do to help. I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything. I found her pacing back and forth around the stone square. When I approached her, she snapped at me. I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long. But when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
오.
You ever seen this before, Fitz?
No, but I don't normally go into Fifi's room.
That's not where we found it.
Oh, I just thought it looks like it belongs to her. Looks like someone doesn't want you to read that book.
That's the main thing making me want to read it.
이 친구가 알만한 거는 없는 것 같은데.
Fitz's room is unlocked. It's up in the fellow tower.
This could be interesting.
Hanging baskets.
To you,
You're
mate,
only
2 inches makes all.
A little chart. Actually, I have no idea what it's about.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 아니지 6, 7이네?
Kinda reminds me of a periodic.
아이
Kinda reminds me of a periodic table.
What do you make of it?
Not a whole lot.
저걸 나중에
This
풀어야
one's
될 것
an
Okay, that is
같은데.
done.
Looks like a gemstone, don't you think?
Tools used by gardening.
It's bigger in here. It's glad.
Total
I am not.
일단 열린 무대부터 들으란 소리죠. 딱정벌레라고? 딱정벌레가 있었어?
It's a little handmade. Inside it says to fit. It's a little inside it says to fit.
피피? 파피가 얘를 좋아. 파피랑 얘랑 사귀고 있나?
Hello.
Not hidden.
Doesn't need to be. It's locked. It's a combination lock. Sort of.
스피는 안 되고. 얘한텐 그런 모양이 없고 아 모양이 다 다르네 조금씩. 그러면은 얘 이거 하나 완성. 그리고 모서리들끼리 다른 거에 합치면 또 다른 모양이 나오겠네요. 이런 식으로 이게 이걸 거고. 그러면은 이건 이걸 거고 이건 거 같은데. 그럼 마지막이 이렇게 안 되겠지.
There we go.
Perfect.
아 딱정벌레 관해서 물어볼까요?
Anything in there?
Yeah, it's wrapped in a... That's kind of ominous.
피피피피시죠. 서로 좋아하는 사이네. 잠깐만 얘기 좀 하자. 너 파피랑 사귀는 사이지, 친구야.
Fifi doesn't like me.
그래?
What did you do?
둘이
I'm
좋아하는
not
거 같은데.
sure. If you find out, Maybe you can let me know.
아 피피가 아니라 파피지. 미안하다. 아 파피를 아직 우리가 안 봤네. 파피 보고 올게 좀 이따가. 미안하다. 깍정벌레 좀 물어보고
I've
갑시다.
seen beetles with brightly colored shells, metallic shells even. They're relatively common, especially around here. There's a difference between that and actual gold.
아 그래?
It can't be actual gold. Gold is just inside the earth or whatever. You can't make it. That's called alchemy. It was a whole
그쵸.
thing.
연금술의 궁극적 목적은 현자의 돌을 만드는 거고 그렇게 돼서 그래서 만드는 것 중 하나가 호문클루스 인조인간 그러니까 인공생명체하고 금하고 현자의 돌인가? 인체 현성하고 금하고 현자의 돌인가? 일단 현자의 돌은 무조건 확정인데 헷갈리네요. 하나 더 있었던 것 같은데. 파피를 만나야 될 것 같아요. 그래야지 쟤네들에 대해 추궁할 수 있을 것 같아. 파피다. 친구.
Are you a ghost?
Sally! That's rude! Unless she is a ghost.
It may come as a disappointment, but I am alive.
Ah,
That makes you a suspect, I'm afraid.
I know.
what's your name?
My name is Poppy. I'm a pointer. And a pianist.
We'll need to ask you a few questions about Freya.
I know.
Hey, you're pretty good.
All in the wrist. And 13 years of dedicated practice.
와우. 13년이나?
I'm just me. There's nothing to know.
How are you related to the other pointers?
My father is Percival Pointer. The professor spends most of his time hidden away in his tower. Barely speaks to anyone these days. Especially not the fellows.
Do you get on with the fellows?
2 of them. Fifi and Freya are my closest friends. We all turned 19 last year.
Do people ever leave Tangle Tower? I don't mean to be rude. It's just, if you're 19...
You don't have to answer that, Poppy.
It's a fair question. I'd like to move away. Definitely. Fifi, Freya, and I would often talk about it, argue about it. Freya wanted to leave, but Fifi... Things are more complicated for her.
What about now?
After what happened, I really don't want to stay here much longer.
실수.
3.5 hours of piano practice. Soon as I wake up. Same as always.
3.5. Does that not hurt your hands?
Sure.
And you do this in the music room?
No, I prefer to practice in my room. When I make mistakes, I like to make them in private.
What did you do after that?
I was supposed to meet Fifi in the library, but I totally forgot.
근데 넌 다른 약속이
When I
더
finally got
착하거든요.
down there, she'd already gone. I checked her bedroom, but it was locked.
Was Fifi not in there?
No idea. She keeps her door locked either way. So I went back upstairs and out into the moonlight garden.
그리고 발견해 그
What?
시체를.
The little garden on the roof outside my room.
Was it just you up there?
No. Fitz came
아니네.
outside after a while. His room's on the other side. He's been teaching me about flowers.
So, did you talk to him?
Not really.
You ignored each other.
I didn't say that. Fitz and
진술부터
I were up
듣고
in the moonlight garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound.
둘이 사귀고
Lasted
있는 것
about 3
같은데.
seconds. I've been trying to decide how to describe it, but I'm struggling. It was like something drilling into a piece of metal,
금속 조각의 드릴?
but different. Worse,
뼈에 박히고 있는
I
건가?
was
뼈에
pretty sure
드릴?
it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there to check. Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. I knew Freya and Flora were both supposed to be in there, so I made Fitz kick down the door. I went
와우.
inside. Freya was lying on the floor.
Flora was in the room too?
Yeah. I think she realized what had happened at the same moment I did. I didn't know what to do, so I ran downstairs to get Fifi. Her door was still locked, but I knocked and shouted at her. Eventually, she let me in. The lights were off, but I could see she'd already been crying. I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry. First time I've ever seen her angry. I dragged her out into the hall. My father was there too, for some reason. The three of us went back up to Flora's tower. Then Felix arrived. He had Penny with him. Fifi had this idea. She wanted to do some kind of scientific test. She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes. After she was done, she went back upstairs and I went back to my room.
That's it?
That's it. Softly does the flower grow, all in time, and time is slow. Rest a seed within the earth, but do not rush its gentle birth. Hour by hour, day by day, tune your heart to nature's way.
뭐야, 사귀거나 이런 얘기는 없네.
All right.
I wonder what's in there. There's a faded mural.
When I was a kid,
You still don't know.
No.
Who plays
It's
the
so I'm guessing nobody.
Oh,
Well, it is
Gotta
the
practice with
practice.
all the broken glass.
뭘까?
Sheet music.
That's a lot.
Probably while they're on the floor. Sheet.
That's a lot.
Probably while they're on the floor.
It's a glow.
For globing. Are they?
Whatever they like a little parade of.
Are
Whatever
they?
they like a little parade of.
1.
Yep.
25.
Mhm.
4.
Yeah.
Am I the only one seeing the problem? It's one of those.
Don't touch
Why
it.
not?
Might be haunted.
All right.
Spooky.
Spooky murder mansion. Oh, whatever it
Well,
is.
it is gotta
What's
practice.
with all the broken glass?
허허. 마지막 인물이군요.
My little writing.
There's nothing written in the book. I don't like
How
it.
do
I
you-
do, but wait. I can feel it. Check out
Looks
that.
evil.
Wow. Judgmental.
A rather magnificent bush.
There's a letter P carved into the side.
And a
And it's home to 3 especially fancy birds.
새가 난폭하다고 했지 않나?
Oh, just beautiful. What is it?
Huh?
Sort of a delicate jade, but with a little
너만
silver
왜
ring, is
옷을
that right?
Sorry?
Your hair,
장갑이야?
dear. Which shade do you
날개는
use? It's
아니겠지.
lovely. And that shape. You're really pushing the envelope.
Oh, thanks. I do what I can to offset Grimoire's beige on brown ensemble.
Detectives don't need to be brightly colored. We prefer to blend into the background.
Oh, you're the detective? Delightful. Penny Pointer, pleasure.
Is that short for Penelope?
Officially, yes, but I never can be bothered with all 4 syllables of it. Penelope sounds a little ostentatious coming out of the mouth, don't you think?
Sure. Yeah.
20-something, Aquarius, love to travel, and nearly all of my friends are birds.
Travel? Where to?
Anywhere at all, as long as it has species worth studying. Ornithology, they call it. I call it the only thing I've ever been good at.
And have you studied the birds here at Tangle Tower?
But of course! Where else do you think I developed my love of the field? No matter where I go, I always find myself coming home to Tangle Tower.
Because of the birds.
Oh, no, because of him!
누구?
Silly to admit, but I suppose I can't bear for us to be apart.
Who are you talking about?
카피가 아니었어 설마?
My fiancé, dear Fitz.
아 피치로 피치랑 너였냐? 난 파피인 줄 알았지.
Fitz fellow.
The very one.
You're engaged to a member of the Fellow family? That's interesting.
I'm not especially interested in whatever tedious feuding goes on between our 2 families. Fitz and I find it much easier to stay out of it altogether. I awoke early and headed down into the greenhouse to see Fitz. He's always there, crack of dawn, every morning like clockwork.
How come?
It's where he's happiest. That and he has a great deal of work to do every day, watering, pruning, mulching, whatever that is.
Do you help him with the work in the greenhouse?
Oh, no. I wouldn't dream of it. I'd probably break something.
So, you stayed with Fitz the whole day?
No. In the early afternoon, he went back inside. Rather suddenly, as it happens.
Did he say why?
He didn't. Probably just a touch of heat stroke, the poor dear. He's more delicate than you'd think.
What did you do after that?
Let's see. I returned to the aviary to feed my birds.
And how many birds are you responsible for?
Officially 4, but in truth it's more like 400.
Can they not feed themselves?
Of course, and they often do. But I think they just like the company. As do I. Sometime in the evening, I left the aviary and headed back towards my room. But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. He was muttering something. Seemed a bit upset, the poor dear. I followed him down, but the grand hall was empty by the time I got there. Empty aside from Detective Hawkshaw, who was loitering over by the library. I don't know what it was, but she looked a little lost. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the fellow tower. I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path. For some reason, he was coming out of Fitz's bedroom. He looked rather lost, too. I told him I was looking for Uncle. He suggested we look up in Flora's tower room. We could see from the hallway. The door was off its hinges. I knew then something was terribly wrong. A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya.
왜 피치에서 망해서
Uncle
나오지?
Pointer was there. Fitz, too. Standing over in the corner with Fifi and Poppy.
What about Flora?
Of course, silent as ever. Uncle suggested we should leave. Give the others some space, you know. So he and I both returned to our rooms in Pointer Tower. I must say the girls are awfully well behaved. I think they know we're in the presence of company.
They belong to you? Why do you keep them in a cage?
They need a special diet, particular treatment. I let them out to fly occasionally, of course. But they're all one of a kind. I couldn't let anything happen to them.
Do they have names?
Of course. Let me introduce you to Tabitha, Tamara, and Tatiana.
I've already forgotten all 3 of those names.
Which one is which?
Oh, that's simple. Tatiana is the oldest, Tabitha is the most patient, and Tamara has the best sense of rhythm.
Glad we cleared that up.
What about the one on your head?
On my head? He's just my hat.
응?
He doesn't have a name. Who would name their hat?
모자였어?
Somebody taking an interest in extinct animals.
Extinct.
Oh, yes. The book is very old. Most of the birds in it are long gone.
Well, what about this bird, though? The ink dip.
This one? Well, it was thought to be extinct for a long time. Then one was found here at Tangle Tower.
So it's not extinct.
You misunderstand. It was the last one. The
오.
very last.
Oh.
그러면은
If I'm not mistaken, that little red and white one is supposed to be a bird of some kind.
마지막 남은 새가 죽은 것처럼 이 사람도 죽었다고 그런 걸 표현하고
We
싶었던
can get
건가?
into Penny.
Now, like, right
나
now?
궁금한 게 있어.
That's all the
Let's
statement.
go over them all.
잠깐만.
Oh, did Fitz show you that?
Not exactly.
We found it hidden under his bed.
Ah, right. Hello. Who penned this juicy little number?
We don't know. It's not signed.
An anonymous letter? Classic clue.
They're bird cages. But the birds are coming.
that a
Oh,
metaphor?
it totally is.
오늘 살펴봐야 된다고?
That's all the statements collected. Let's run through them all to see if
anyone's been lying.
that too.
Fitz and I were up in the moonlight garden most of the afternoon. Then I heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds.
We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
난 이 아저씨가 수정이 이 아저씨.
Nobody was answering. So I made Fitz kick down the door.
Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back.
I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall.
But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared.
I didn't know what to do. So I ran downstairs to get Fifi.
I heard someone heading down the stairs. They're just outside my room.
Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me.
Eventually, she let me in.
이 아저씨는
I
파피를 봤다
spotted
그랬거든.
Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library.
그분이 갑자기 왜 안
Emerged from the
나왔냐?
Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the fellow staircase. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the fellow tower.
I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry.
I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face.
I recognized Fiona's voice as well as the voice of my own daughter.
We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs.
I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared.
얘
and
왜
blocked my
여기 들어가
path.
있냐고.
Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer. So I escorted her.
Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too.
Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did.
A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya.
Then I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting.
She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes.
I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything.
An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance.
I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long. But when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
That's disappointing.
What is?
All the statements line up with each other.
They don't just line up. Some of them even seem to specifically confirm each other. That's all the statements collected.
펜이랑?
I feel like I'm starting on a giant burger.
I must say, I really don't care for the dead. People are better off when they just let themselves be themselves. Between you and me, I think Felix is secretly rather miserable. Isn't he strapping?
He is big.
And so brooding.
Kinda sulky, yeah.
I can never tell what's going on in that beautiful head of his.
It just sounds like you don't know him very well.
I don't remember asking for your input. Not a fan of insects myself. Whose research is this?
We were hoping you might know.
No, can't say I... Freya, perhaps. I know she was always very fond of grubby little things like this.
Noted.
Gaudy old thing, isn't it? Flora seems very fond of it. I've never understood why. But then I could say the same thing about her husband.
Heyo!
Ooh, delightful. More of a gemstone than a fruit, isn't it?
Inedible, too, I think.
Yes. At one point, I thought Fitz might be growing them to sell them. But honestly, I think he just likes the way they look. Ooh, a secret diary.
That's our guess too.
Excellent.
방이요? 아 열렸죠. 하우스 얘기하라고. 매번 바뀌나 혹시? 아 매번 바뀌는구나. 무조건 따라가면 안 되는 거네. 말 끊어야 되는데 벌써 1시간 했는데.
Oh, thank. Wouldn't want it to be dark?
It's a metronome.
It's ticking. Is it a bomb?
It's supposed to. Not sure what those symbols are though. There we go.
Perfect. What happened?
Little hat.
Anything in there?
Mm-hmm. Part of a photograph.
이거 카세트 우리가 갖고 있는 그거 아니야? 누군지 모르겠는데? 누구지?
There's an, you know, various.
What do you think?
Hopefully,
I
that
thought
this is a vampire who needs firm. Anything
Dresses. I didn't realize there was some.
empty.
Dresses. I didn't realize there was some.
Sheet
Tell me.
music. It's been framed though. Must be important for some reason.
It's an octopus.
No, it has. Don't say it.
Sextopus.
여기 아직 안 열려 있고.
A little bit.
Let's see. And
What?
this one appears.
Nice. It's a
Are
bird.
those real?
It's a
Are
bird.
those? Nope.
They're using up all the perches.
뭐지?
Nope.
There must be something to do with those white lines.
하얀 선과
Nothing.
I think the birds are.
이능과 전운이 만나면 어떻게 될까?
I guess
It's
that.
a family tree. You'll need to start with blue and yellow.
아 스타트 블루라고? 아닌 것
I guess
It's a
that.
family tree. You'll need to start with blue and yellow at the top.
이거 두 개 시작이잖아. 이거 두 개 합치면 어떻게 되는데? 이거야? 이거 아닌 것 같은데.
I guess
It's a
that.
family. You'll need to start with blue and yellow.
That's the one.
Hey, not bad. Did the door open?
어? Now it'll get her. Now I will get her.
That's
There's something just feels out of place.
Looks like rude. Traveling.
Empty. All of them.
A little.
One
What's in
of
the
the
other
third
one?
seed.
That bit.
Does it feel?
No, you're
It's
right.
not coming from the bed. A little
Let's see.
romance.
And
What?
this one.
Nice.
That bit.
Does it
No, you're right.
It's not coming from the bed. It's coming from
저거?
Looks like rude.
locked.
There must be some way to get it open. A big glass door leads out.
There's a little mechanism.
아, 끊고 가야 되지, 맞다.
Nothing.
All
Still,
four.
those other symbols look like
I
sun.
think it is.
왠지 이거일 것 같지 않아?
Nope.
Maybe the
So where is
information
it?
somewhere else.
아,
I guess we'll come back later.
힌트가 있을 거다.
Sheet music.
It's only a few
Yeah,
minutes.
it's been framed though. Must be important for some reason.
잠시만요. 어차피 끊고 갈 거긴 한데 끊고 가게 되면 하이파이로시 할 것 같아서 이거 퍼즐만 풀고 좀. 어디에 있을까 힌트가? 얘네들은 아닌가?
That?
I thought
this is a vampire who needs firm support. We already solved it. A big glass door leads out.
There's a little.
해와 달인데
Nothing.
All four times.
Those other symbols look
I
like.
think it is.
Nope.
Maybe
So
the
where is it?
somewhere else.
Ah.
You know.
What? The whole
Yeah. The
Some-
duality of the
thing? If
sun.
you say so. Ah.
You know.
What?
Yeah. The duality of
If
the
you say so. Ah.
You know. Yeah. The
If
duality.
you say so.
I guess we'll come back later.
It's locked.
I thought
We
were.
are.
What's that thing by the handle?
나르고도 뭐랄까?
It made a noise.
I guess that was right. And the
I
door.
still feel like we made some.
기억하고 가면 되겠다.
Quit solving. Not every room is going to be full of.
We
yeah,
are.
but the door.
기억했다. 지그지.
Oh wow!
What?
It's a big empty space. A big glass leads out.
There's a little mechanism.
Something
That must be
happened.
it. Finally.
Whatever's on the other side.
이거로 모든 곳을 다 풀었죠.
It's
He's
another
playing
piece
on.
also.
No, they're not. And they're not headphones. They're earmuffs.
루트.
Ah, I wonder how it's hooked up.
Giant stone.
Yeah.
Except those aren't snowflakes. They're feathers.
It's a
Exactly.
A little
See, there's
yeah.
nothing. Looks like somebody broke them. And then
Trees.
in a garden.
In a garden.
That's one big
Or
tree.
one very
It's. I might just.
a little
See, there's
yeah.
nothing. Looks like somebody broke them. And then
Oh, go ahead.
not all. I might just.
It's the door.
One of only two.
yeah.
More eggs.
I don't get it.
Well, I ought to sculpture. An egg has got to be the easy.
이제 이로써 모든 방을 다 뒤졌네요. 이제 다른 것들을 조금씩 더 뒤져봐야 되지 않을까 싶은데. 일단 얘처럼 이것까지 해야 될 것 같거든요. 이것까지 해야 될 것 같거든. 그래서 이제 인물들한테 하나하나 여기까지 파고들어야 될 것 같은데. 예.
What's this all?
I'm pretty
If
sure.
it's me,
Does Florin normally keep something in
she
here?
must do, but
Why not just ask her?
I feel like if somebody... It's because they don't.
Rules to live by.
뭔가 더 뒤져봐야 되겠죠. 일단 오늘은 이건 여기까지 하도록 하고, 네, 다음에 또 이어서 하도록 하겠습니다. 일단은 방 다 뒤졌고 단서 어느 정도 모았으니까 조금씩 뒤지면서 이거 마저 채우는 방식으로 가면 될 것 같아요. 요거 더 뒤져보죠. 지금 얘 말고는 다 푼 애가 없으니까 아마 다 풀면 되지 않을까 싶습니다. 그러면 다음 영상에 뵙겠습니다. 안녕.